Did you know women get falsely accused more than men do? Watch this video till the end to find out what I mean. False accusations of sexual assault against men are not a real thing, and here's the data to prove it. False accusations of rape against men are vanishingly rare. In the UK, US, and Europe, the numbers are suspected to be somewhere between 2 and 6%, but that number diminishes even further when you consider other factors, like that number can only come from sexual violence that's reported to begin with. So this one researcher estimates that the number is more like 0.5%. In many jurisdictions, the data for false accusations include withdrawn accusations, which is not at all the same things. Genuine allegations are often withdrawn due to pressure from the police, family, community, or the perpetrator himself. Many studies show that false accusations are often due to complaints that were lodged by parents of minors who were upset that their kids were having sex. By the way, the stats of false accusations are not higher than for any other type of crime, and we tend to believe people when they say that they were robbed or burgled. Given those factors, the situation of false accusations against men is minuscule compared to the problem of actual sexual assault by men against women. 1 in 6 women is a victim of sexual violence, and yet 87% of victims do not report to the police. This is a much bigger problem than the fictitious bogey of false accusations against men. So why don't women who are victims report it, you may be asking? Well, there's no point. For starters, only 30% of reports lead to an arrest, summons, formal caution, or any legal action. Plus, it's too risky. Women who come forward about their abuse face re-traumatization, public shaming, retaliation, and job loss. When women who have genuinely experienced sexual assault don't even report it, why would women who haven't? Men are even much more likely to be essayed than to be falsely accused of it.
To the National Registry of Exonerations, you are more than 15 times more likely to be falsely accused of murder than to be falsely accused of rape. That means out of 1,000 rapes that occur, there are 5 false allegations. That's 0.5%. Let's talk for a moment about how false accusations are defined. The FBI guidelines for clearing cases say that cases can be deemed to be unfounded. That's the word they use, unfounded, if they are either false reports or they're baseless. Baseless means that, for example, I report something to a police officer and they say, well, ma'am, that doesn't actually qualify as a crime. I was telling the truth. I fully thought that there was a crime, but they tell me actually legally whatever it was that happened wasn't a crime. That's what baseless means. A complaint should only be classified as a false report if 1, there was a thorough investigation done, and 2, there was evidence that the crime had not occurred. When people talk about false accusations in the press or colloquially, it's very hard to know actually what even people are talking about, because they could be talking about false reports, they could be talking about false reports and baseless reports, which are in that unfounded category, or they could be just talking about any time when there wasn't enough evidence and the case wasn't pursued, or they could be talking about the times when someone brought a case and then decided they didn't want to pursue it. There's all sorts of different things that could fall under the category of false accusations. One of the most commonly cited studies looking at false accusations in cases of sexual assault looked at data from the Los Angeles Police Department for the year 2008. The researchers looked at about 400 cases that the LAPD had classified as unfounded. So again, unfounded means false reports and baseless reports. By the way, in their weighted analyses, they concluded the overall false reporting rate was 4.5% in this study. They concluded that in this sample, about 2/3 of the unfounded cases were actually false reports. The remaining 1/3 were either baseless, or not false reports, not baseless, or they couldn't classify them. We know the incidence of these false reports is pretty low. What's even more important, though, is that false reports leading to serious consequences for the accused is extremely rare. A UK study looking at 216 false accusations found that less than 1/5 of the time was a perpetrator even named. Fewer than 1 out of 6 named perpetrators were even arrested. Out of the entire 216 cases, only 2 charges were brought. And despite all of this, there are men in my comments, I think unironically, arguing that false accusations are as big a problem and warrant as much concern as rape.
I love how Liz calls out the absurdity of statements like this men make. Men try to make it seem like false allegations are so widespread that they're somehow now oppressed because of it. Yet they don't have to take the precautions and do half as much as the things women have to do on a daily basis to keep ourselves safe from male violence.
You're petrified of false allegations? Are you watching what you're wearing around women? Are you making sure that you're not having too much to drink around women? Are you making sure that you're with a buddy at all times? A buddy system will always prevent a false allegation, trust. You gotta make sure you have friends going with you to the bathroom, walking you to your car. I mean, honestly, you probably shouldn't even be leaving the house at all. I mean, there's just women waiting around every corner to falsely accuse men of something that women aren't even believed about when it actually does happen to us. Oh God.
Innocent until proven guilty false rape allegations are rare, so why are people desperate to believe otherwise? In the 24 hours since the documentary Russell Brand in Plain Sight Dispatches aired, and the Times Exposed landed, I've seen as many innocent until proven guilty sentiments as I have in support of survivors of sexual assault. This feels incredibly disappointing and serves as a stark reminder that men, especially the famous and rich, will always be defended. This phrase, innocent until proven guilty, is continuously used as a weapon against victims to silence and discredit them. The paper detailed that an extensive study into essay case attrition undertaken by Kelly et al. In 2005 found that the rate of false allegations stood at 3%. A study produced by the Crown Prosecution Service in England, Wales in March 2013 revealed that over a 17-month period between January 2011 and May 2012, when all false allegation cases were referred to the DPP, there were 5,651 prosecutions for SA, but only 35 for making false allegations of SA. Research for the Home Office suggests that only 4% of cases of sexual violence reported to the UK police are found or suspected to be false. Studies carried out in Europe and in the US indicate rates of between 2% and 6%. Channel 4's 2018 fact-check reinforced the fact that false allegations of race are rare, concluding that men are more likely to be assaulted than be falsely accused of assault.
Let's quickly address the women who side with men when those men are accused of sexual assault. I noticed so many of the supporters of abusive men like Johnny Depp and Justin Baldoni are women, so here's Summer Totthill's take on women who do that.
So these women who are supporting Russell Brand now and refusing to believe his victims may find themselves in future having to accuse some other man of something he has done to them, and they will find themselves not believed because of the culture that they helped to prop up, where we think that false accusations of rape and sexual assault are common and that women do this for fame and money and attention. But as I often say to women, making yourself an ally to the patriarchy will not make the patriarchy an ally to you.
BelieveWomen has never been about setting aside the legal presumption of innocence for men accused of sexually assaulting women. It's always been about setting aside other presumptions, like the presumption that she's likely to be lying, that she just wants attention or revenge or regrets having sex, the presumption that is about a man losing control and that she must have said or done something that led to that. The presumption that what she was wearing matters, how many times she's had sex in the past matters, that if she doesn't say no, then it's yes, even if she's so drunk or drugged, she's incapable of agreeing to anything, and all the other presumptions that police, juries and courts have and continue to use, consciously or unconsciously. BelieveWomen is about taking sexual assault allegations at face value and about investigating them properly. And the idea that some kind of radical leftist agenda is just bullshit.
On the very rare occasion that a woman actually does falsely accuse a man of SA, those women are treated far worse than men who have been proven to have committed sexual assault. Look at this next post, for example. Look at how many likes it got, how many people agree with it, almost 160,000 likes. Why do people act like men can't also make false accusations when they can and have? Yet they say only women should go to jail for false allegations. This isn't about getting justice for perjury. This is about punishing women for speaking out about male violence because they hate women and want to keep getting away with misogyny. Women get falsely accused of crimes way more than men do, and you're about to see an example of that.
This is Kirsten Laboto. She served 16 years in prison for a murder she did not commit. At just 18 years old, she was charged with the brutal murder of Duran Bailey, a homeless man in Las Vegas. She was first convicted of first-degree murder, but 4 years later that was reduced to the lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter, and she was sentenced to 13 to 45 years. And after spending 16 years behind bars, a new hearing was held with evidence that confirmed the actual day of the victim's death was when Kirsten was 3 hours away with her family, proving that she couldn't have committed the crime. This is Kirsten outside for the first time as a free woman.
I'm so overwhelmed and so happy and so grateful for all the people that have believed in me and fought for me for all these years. So where'd you know?
Okay, well, we got people shot you.
Kirsten has filed a lawsuit against the Las Vegas Police Department, and as of today, she has not received any compensation.
Men worry about false accusations as if they even face any consequences when they do commit those crimes. Yet it's women who are punished more for doing less. Women are punished for defending themselves and given longer sentences than males who unalive their partner. According to the Michigan Women's Justice and Clemency Project, the average prison time sentence for men who unalive their intimate partner is 2 to 6 years. Women who unalive their partners are sentenced on average 15 to 17 years. A Pair of Maryland case vividly illustrates this inequality in sentencing. In one case, a judge in Baltimore County, Maryland sentenced Kenneth Peacock to 18 months for unaliving his unfaithful wife. The very next day, another judge in the same country sentenced Patricia Ann Hawkins to 3 years for unaliving her abusive husband. Significantly, the prosecutor in the Peacock case requested a sentence twice as long as the one imposed, while the prosecutor in the Hawkins case requested 1/3 of the sentence imposed. As many as 90% of the women in prison today for unaliving men had been battered by those men.
Men on the internet never believe a single claim of sexual assault by a woman, and yet they are feral with concern that sexual assault allegations are out here ruining men's lives. Babe, not even men who get convicted of assault get their lives ruined. Famous men who are credibly accused of sexual assault towards women always get their careers back. Louis C.K., Chris Brown, Aziz Ansari, Roman Polanski, Johnny Depp, Michael Fassbender, Donald Trump. All of these men have been either credibly accused or witnessed assaulting women, and they all still have careers. Men who are accused of sexual harassment in the workplace get to keep their careers. In fact, they tend to get promoted and advanced. Men who are violent towards their partners still get partial custody of the children, even though spousal abuse is also child abuse. And nobody seems to be very concerned that the very real and very frequent sexual assault that happens to women ruins their lives, even though it does.